good job. And then, whoops, I just started the recording now that Donna's joined us. It was really good. They did a really good job. So
Heard good things
anxious
about
to see the next one. I think it's Legally Blonde, and Rachel Yeager got a part in that. So I can't wait for that.
it. Be fun.
Yeah, she'll be fun. Donna, I see you've joined us, but I don't have any audio for you. Or video. Are you still
Actually,
struggling to connect?
Okay.
There she is.
Yeah, I thought I hit the button to say unmute me, but it didn't work. I am on my way to the church. I ran home after yoga just to put on something a little warmer than what I had on.
Okay.
I'll leave it on my phone without video, so I don't accidentally disconnect, and try and bring it up on my computer, and then I'll switch off.
Sounds
So,
good.
so Faith said that Nora Fanuzzi is on by phone.
I'm here.
Lori and Faith are on by regular Zoom. So
Who's at the church tonight with you?
let me tell you who's here. Christy is here. Carrie is here. Bev is here, and Rich is here. So we have
Hello,
a-
hello.
hello. I'd show you their pictures, but I'm not on video yet. So I wonder if I can get on video. I don't know if no, shoot. Cancel. No, I can't, for some reason, I don't know how to bring up. Oh, there it is. There's video. Okay, see, there's Rich. Say hi, Rich.
Say hi, Rich.
Hi, Rich.
Everybody say hi, Rich.
Hi, Rich.
So maybe I won't worry about my computer. I'll just use my computer to prop it up. So no guests, it's just us regular people. Thank you all for coming. For those that were at the last board meeting, do you have any comments? There was not a lot different with the February board meeting, aside from what was on the agenda. Because at that time, we were thinking, okay, we have an exchange coming. Let's plan language and culture and figure out how to do fundraisers. The only thing in addition is that Kevin Haynes was on by Zoom. He was the only family person present. And the question that I proposed, which is now mute, which was, would the families be willing to host if the Japanese can come? But it ends up we can't go. And both Mark Shin and Kevin Haynes had voiced that they would happily host, but probably drop out, which a month later, the exchange is canceled. And for those of you that haven't heard, Fiona and Erica are both dropping out. So,
Fiona is too. What?
yes,
Oh.
yeah. March had said that in her email. And just, I know that the year between your junior year and your senior year can be chaos, aside from as Tina Haynes said, the older, no wonder we pick younger kids. Well,
Yeah,
because the
that's
older
true.
they get, the harder it is to plan stuff like this, you know?
Yeah. Donna, we're
Yeah.
teetering. Mhm.
We're what? You're broke up,
We are teetering as well. Mhm.
teetering. So is Ethan. Ethan is too.
There was,
and-
yeah, I have to tell you, can anybody hear me? Althea
Yes.
doesn't know what to do either. Althea's,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
if nobody's going, she doesn't want to go. She doesn't
Yeah.
know what to do.
we don't know what to do because
Yeah.
damn COVID doesn't know what to do. It's just,
Yeah. But she's really happy if she could get some service hours. That's what's really exciting for her.
well, let's just carry on and I will get to that. So
Yeah.
back to the February minutes. Do we have any changes, a motion to accept them for those of you that were present?
I'll make that motion. Oh,
So Faith
Think Carrie
made a motion to accept the February minutes. Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Carrie second. So all in favor of just approving the minutes from February, say aye. Or
aye.
put your thumb up if you're muted. Any opposed? Let's just make that unanimous. The financial report just needs to be accepted. The only thing that's new is that the Roundup Association gave us $200 for the help with the Boots and Buckle Ball. Amazon Smile earned us $12.71. We get that quarterly, but it shows up on weird quarters, obviously, because we got it in February. The next thing on the agenda is just think about it. As our exchange is canceled, I feel like us as a sister city international organization, we need to figure out ways of making sure that the city knows, which is hard enough when we have an exchange. But let the city know that we exist and see if there's anything we can't do culturally to share with the city that that Livingston has a sister city. It's always been tough because our sister city is with Japan, and you could count the Asian Americans and on one hand and divide that by two, and those are the Japanese and the others are Chinese. Or I think somebody here is South Korean too. Yeah, so you already all know that the exchange has been canceled and people are dropping out, and it might be mute. If Japan opens, how many would be willing to travel at Christmas? That's a hard time to travel if they don't want to wait till 2023. So as far as these kids, especially the ones that were selected to go in 2020, those students did a large amount of fundraising in 2019. We barely did fundraisers in 2020 because that's when COVID shut us down. And we did a few in 2021, but I keep a record of almost all the fundraisers because I help in some way, even if I just show up for an hour instead of 3 hours, but I know the dates of the fundraisers because I submit the hours to the First Interstate Foundation to get reimbursed for my volunteer hours. So I'm working on a spreadsheet of the events and what my hours were, with a separate square for students to put what their hours were, because you know darn well these kids that did fundraisers in 2019 do not remember what fundraisers they worked. So it's my plan to send out a spreadsheet when I get it done, and I'll show a sample to the people here of the dates, the event, and the hours that I put in to give the kids an idea what they did.
Well, what's kids that were there in 2019 that are left now, are just Charlie and Chris?
No, it would be Charlie, Chris, Fiona, Erica, Scarlett Welch, Zach Rader, Kylie McDonald. All those students were selected to
Oh.
go in 2020. They all did fundraisers in 2019, not necessarily all of them showing up to every fundraiser. Quite a few of them were there, including the newly selected ones for the first fundraisers in 2020, which we started with the Celtic Festival. We didn't get to spring yard cleaning because the weather didn't cooperate before mid-March, which was when COVID shut us down, and we just had to let all the families know. We did do a torturesome fireworks cleanup that year. That's the year that there was no rodeo, but instead of a rodeo, the Roundup Association shot off all of the fireworks, 3 days worth of fireworks in one day. Richard's looking at me because he remembers. So we went to the fairgrounds and the golf course on July 5th and picked up 3 days worth of fireworks in one morning instead of spreading it out. Anyway, so whether these kids go or not, they've been working on fundraisers, and I feel like they should claim community service hours if they were in high school when they did these events. Am I right? They started this community service thing after Caitlin graduated in 2007. Do you have to be in high school when you do the community service to get credit for it in high school? So the kids need to know what grade they were, what year the fundraisers were done, and whether or not they showed up, and then get a sheet to somebody to sign off on it.
Do you still have those tick sheets that we keep,
We were keeping
And-
tracking.
or, your little tick sheet grids? where
Yeah.
you check?
Yeah, buried
Because-
someplace. Yeah, and quite
And
often
I'd be
I,
more than willing to go through and make sure that everybody's,
that nobody's saying, I was there when they
I
weren't.
can see it, yeah. Especially the older ones. It's like, wow, I could get all my 100 hours in right here.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I don't have
30,
to.
yeah. So
almost 30 for my girl,
what?
only 30 for mine. And then it doesn't go back up again. till
30.
Only
What?
30, what, because of COVID?
They didn't have to have.
Oh, they reduced how many hours you had to have during COVID, and then they increased it again.
Yeah, then it goes back up. They're like, okay, this class, and I want to say juniors, they're only 30.
And then you just throw it back
And
up.
then
So
they go
current
back up to
seniors
40.
don't need as many, but the juniors,
Yeah.
well, all of our
There's lots of
kids
ways
are
to
sophomores
stay
going
young
into
parents.
all of them are currently freshmen or sophomores.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yes, they'll be back up to the 40 or whatever it is, but it's really not hard to do.
So what grade was
keep everyone
Chris
calm.
in when we were doing fundraisers in 2019, Lori? Do the math. My head is
No,
flipped.
it might have been between his 8th and 9th grade, the summer between 8th and 9th grade, but I'm pretty sure that still counts. And I would be more than happy to present the case to the school and see if they would give, special circumstances to this group of kids because of, what's happened. A lot of this is beyond everybody's control. I mean, COVID obviously is beyond the control. I wonder if the school would see this as a special circumstance.
But give them extra hours for stuff they did when they were in 8th grade?
Well, let it count for, yeah.
Correct.
I don't-
Yeah, well,
I think it's.
go for it if you want to ask the school. You know, I mean, I just basically trust the kids when they bring me sheets and sign it, but I'm going to continue to, I mean, I just started this thing today by copying, pasting from my spreadsheets that I sent to the foundation for donation to Sister City, so.
Do you want
Um,
to the kids that this impacts and their hours so that I can summarize to the school, like this is what the request is? And see what they think.
That the summer before your freshman year counts.
Yeah,
And
those
it should
count.
count, and I have no problem signing for that. Or making Donna sign.
The ones we need a special circumstance for would be those that between 7th and 8th grade. Because those that participate in the summer before their freshman year, those hours would count no matter what.
Right,
Because they're
Because
enrolled, they're high school
basically
students at
freshmen
that
at
point.
that point.
right.
So that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, that,
But they'd only be able to count fundraisers from the end of the school year, which would have been May,
May,
until, they wouldn't be able to count, like if they did fundraisers in January and February.
Like the
And
yard cleaners.
like from there on,
The yard things, how we scooped them all back.
because
When they
there's,
were- once they were-
there's quite a few that were selected in 2018 to go in 2020, and then there's another chunk that were selected in 2019
Mhm.
to go in 2021, but they were selected at the end of the year, 2019, and we barely did fundraisers in 2020. And they would have been 8th grade. Right? 8th grade when it was
Yeah.
canceled, yeah. So I don't know if there's anything to ask the high school. I
But-
doubt that the
yeah.
high school would say, these kids are
Oh.
special, they get credit for all the stuff they did in 8th grade and not let any of the other high school kids get credit for what they did in 8th grade. I mean,
There's very few kids that did anything in 8th grade, so
yeah, but the thing is that
yeah, it
if
helps them.
their service hours were coming from stuff they did in 8th grade when they thought they were going on a trip. I can see a lot of parents getting pretty upset about that.
Rachel didn't even have to use any of her Sister City hours because she got credit for being in band,
you get community service for being in band,
going to the pep.
going to the, wow.
Yep.
Anyway.
So that's where she got all her hours.
I will continue working on that sheet and I will dig out my hysterical records
Counting
of,
them out. It doesn't take much.
of keeping track of stuff and get it sent out to all of the kids and tell them that it's up to them to fill out their sheets and bring it to a board member to sign off.
And if you want me to help you with coordinating the I can help.
Yeah, so Bev and I will both work on that.
Those sheets.
Yeah, well, and I know Ethan was in church this last Sunday and he said, I need to talk to you. His decision for thinking of wavering on dropping out isn't so much because he thinks he's going to be too busy. He thinks he's going to be too old. And somebody else dropped out because they're going to Spain. And I get it, it's a personal decision, but like David Grant was saying, if there's an opportunity to travel wherever it is, they should take it. And I told Ethan, there is no such thing as being too old. The girl that I took, the oldest 2 girls that I took got more out of the trip than the younger ones. They appreciated it more. Granted, they are older than the average kid that comes from Naganahara.
Yeah.
Right, that's
But
kind of
with
where
their-
Chris is coming from. It really changes the dynamic of the entire experience when he got to, be involved when Megan did it and the Japanese students all came here. That's part of his concern, is not just,
Right.
oh, I should be grateful to just be able to go anywhere, whenever it opens up, I should just get to go, He is grateful for that. And I think, but the other part of it is his concern of hanging, the rest of the experience when you're with Japanese students that are so much younger than you, it's going to change the dynamic
Yeah,
between everybody. Mhm.
Lori.
So-
uh,
Hi.
Wolfgang, hi. Wolfgang was 2 years older than both of his exchange brothers.
Mhm.
And they are connected on Facebook and he's shipping off whiskey this week.
That's awesome.
I mean, they find it, the age doesn't matter. Just thinking.
I'll tell him the age doesn't matter.
Okay?
I'm not sure he'll believe me, but I'll tell him.
Yeah. They get along fine.
In 2 or 3 years, when you're in your 20s is way different, maybe you'll still have that bond, if you'll get closer, because
Mhm.
The only thing is that they'll probably, because they are older, they're gonna want to be a little more independent and not have to be tracked around by chaperones and stuff. That might be a little bumpy, but it is what it is.
no. I
these
don't
kids, when they're in
They'll be like,
Japan,
"Oh, I
they
don't
are,
have to go do that by yourself." I'm like,
they're so busy.
kids.
No,
Yeah.
we've had younger kids sneak out of the hotel in Tokyo, lost in a big city, much to the chagrin of the chaperones that didn't know that they did it. It doesn't take maturity to do
No.
stupid things by
No.
yourself.
Or
Naughty.
thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I think
Sorry, my phone tipped over. Yeah, so. It's a personal decision. If they're going to Spain, if they think they're too old, if they think they're too busy, but
Well, this was
And they don't need to
Wolfgang's-
apologize.
This was
I
Wolfgang's
understand.
agenda for the summer that he went.
so.
Yeah.
As far as, since we have very little in the way of family meeting business, there's, Lori, you're the only other family person here besides board. Bev suggested we not do the first Wednesday family meetings. For those that are staying with the program, just make it the first Wednesday being a family meeting, stay with the third Wednesday board meeting and email communication.
Mhm.
What do you think? I mean, there's no other family to ask. Carrie
I agree.
thinks sufficient. Bev thought that was sufficient.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea. Mhm.
I thank David for the one language and culture that he did. I don't know if any of the kids between the time that the recording went out, Faith, and the time that we found out that Naganohara changed their mind and is not doing an exchange, if any of them went online to view it. I haven't had the chance to view it, so, but I
can-
know,
I can look to see how many views we have from the admin portal side.
and you might, if you get a chance, you have the group email of everybody, you might come up with a timeline when David really got down to the meat and potatoes, so they're not listening to unnecessary babble
Sure.
until he read that self-introduction probably
6 times.
at least 6 times before it was done. Because he did it like one-on-one with some of the kids that were there, and he did it individually, just saying it. So that would be interesting. So now we're into the hard part.
Donna, if I may, before we move on, if I may
Yes.
interrupt you, I was just looking at the meeting calendar. If we continue with the board meetings on the third Wednesday of the month, we could run into some potential conflicts with the Zoom accounts, just with overlapping meetings. Unless we do eventually return to in-person meetings, which a few of the other boards have started to discuss.
What time would the conflicting meetings be?
Sorry.
Time?
Sorry, I muted myself. It would be the city planning board is the only one I'm concerned about. They start at 5:30 and they sometimes meet for an hour or 2 hours, which would be a conflict for us if their meeting is still going.
Okay. So if the,
That
if,
should be a big deal.
if the board were to meet in person and invite family by Zoom at 7:30, would that be feasible?
Did she get cut off?
I don't
Was it
know.
conflict? Did she say?
She's thinking.
Oh.
Did that make sense, Faith? Most of, the board could meet in person.
I'm sorry, Dawn was chatting with me. I missed your comment.
Hi,
Hi.
say hi to everybody. Sorry, I keep dropping my phone. Say hi, Faith.
Hi, Dawn.
Say hi,
Bye,
Dawn.
Faith.
Hi, Faith. Hi, Dawn.
What I was saying is the board could meet in person if the city planning starts at 5:30. Would they be done at 7:30 if the board were to meet in person and invite family by Zoom at 7:30? Or do we just need to say we're meeting in person the third Wednesday of the month in person?
Yeah, we can always FaceTime.
I mean, people can always call in like Nora
Yeah.
called rather
Yep.
than driving all the way back into town
Yeah,
to meet.
there's workarounds. That's not big.
Are the meetings going to continue to be at St. Andrews or were we going to return to the Bev Stevenson room?
I haven't asked the library if we could use it again. We possibly could go back to the library. St. Andrews is available on Wednesdays. At one time it was only family meetings that were meeting at the Food Resource Center. I still have a key.
Me too. Let's go there.
Bev said she has a key too. We're gonna go to the Food Resource Center and raid the fridge. What do you guys think? Should we continue to meet here? Or should we try and go back to the library?
For board, just board meetings?
I think it's just as easy to be here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is working out
because,
fine.
Bev says it's just as easy to work here. I mean, Bev has a key, I have a key. If there were any time there was a board meeting that one of us couldn't be here, one of us could get a key to somebody else to get in. We don't have to set up tables and tear them down like we did at the library.
yeah.
Well, plus we don't have our dear friend. She takes such.
Yeah, and Tim doesn't work there anymore.
No,
I'd have to say, hey, Tim, can we meet upstairs at Ace Hardware?
he's a cashier at Ace.
Get out of town.
He is.
Wow.
I don't know why he quit the library.
There wasn't any work, was there?
I don't know.
On top of the money.
Anyway, Tim King was our buddy at the library. He's not there anymore. He is now at Ace Hardware.
That was my only question. I didn't mean to take away from your agenda here.
Oh. No. But it does bring up the fact that we've been Zooming during COVID. Not that COVID has gone away, but maybe we should just start meeting in person And the majority of people here say, just keep it at St. Andrews because it's convenient. There's always plenty of parking and we don't have a problem getting in and it's available.
We can always Skype or something or FaceTime. or
And if we
whatever.
needed to, we can do an individual Zoom. It doesn't have to be through the city if we needed to Zoom.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, I don't. think
I would have to
it's something
relearn
like-
how to Zoom. Yeah. Can you, if you Skype, can you group Skype? Oh, yeah. But what happens if you're on different kinds of phones?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can,
There's a lot of ways
on,
to do it. besides-
Facebook, you can Messenger, you can get a bunch of people.
Yeah.
On there, you get a great bunch.
So
It's not-
we're digressing here. The consensus is that we continue to meet on the third Wednesday at 7 o'clock at St. Andrews. And we will not do it by Zoom, just in case there is a conflict and we tell people we're going to Zoom and it's not available. But we'll put the word out that if you can't make it in person,
Let us know.
let us know and we will Skype you or call you. We'll get you in there. Like Nora, just call, right, Nora?
Yeah,
Nora says yes, because if she came, she wouldn't want to drive all the way in. That's a long drive. I saw the girls, by the way, on Friday. I showed up at the Shane to volunteer and I had the wrong Friday, but they showed up
We
too.
wondered where you were.
yeah, they did. And Althea just loved it.
Did they stay to watch the play?
In center.
Yeah.
She just had a hard time. So, but you got to start
So,
somewhere.
so
Althea,
unless there's
first time.
anything for discussion before we get into fundraisers, is there anything else to bring up? So, heavy sigh, spring yard cleaning in a normal year was going to be tricky this year because of when spring break is, and it doesn't coincide with Easter. There's only like 3 weekends and who knows what the weather's going to be. I already warned Tom Basket that we probably wouldn't do his. I don't know how many people we would have, but my concern is some of the elderly people that depend on us. The only 2 I can think of, Colin and Sebring Davis, they could do their own yard if they had to. Tom Basket, Sherry Pickle, their rental house where Sherry's sister is, could be done. Christine Whiteside really needs the help. She cannot do it by herself. Sandra Bork, even though we don't do a lot at her house, she needs the help. She can't do anything by herself. She can hardly walk downstairs by herself, let alone rake her yard. So I wonder if we want to just try and round up a few people. If we want to attempt doing spring yard cleaning, the first weekend would be the first and second weekend in April. And then you have to skip another weekend because of Easter. So the first, second, and fourth weekend in April are the only days we have to do yard cleaning. Do I have any board people that would be willing to help do yard cleaning if I didn't have many families? Or do we just try and see, do I poll the families and say going or not, or community service, how many people are willing to help? And these are the dates that are open, but we have to wait for the weather.
Just ask. Yeah, yeah, not require it, ask, and
So
we're available, we can drag out.
Bev says, go for it. Just email people with the only free weekends that we have and see how many people we have and what we can get done.
Donna, what were those dates again?
April 2nd and 3rd, April 9th and 10th, April 23, 24. because Easter is the of 16th, 17th. We have the garage sale the weekend of the 30th to May 1st. And the following weekend is the Pioneer Dinner and Mother's Day. So literally 3 weekends, weather depending.
Donna, take this, I have to jump, but
Say what?
I have to leave the meeting. So yeah, I just want to tell everybody thanks, and it's great to hear an update, and I'll look for the email to, you know, get the rest of the minutes from this meeting. So
Oh,
yeah,
you're jumping. Is that what
I
you,
have to go. Yeah, I have to jump
Okay.
off.
well, you were breaking up as you were jumping off. Thank
Oh,
you for
darn.
coming.
Bye, Lori.
All right, thanks, everybody. Okay,
Okay.
bye.
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 Donna, I just wanted to add that the city's annual spring cleanup kicks
Uh-huh.
off on April 25th, and so it may be
So we'd
worth
be,
it. What's that?
we would be done by then.
Yeah. What is that big yard on Gallatin Street, or what is that, 6th and Gallatin? Down the
Gabe-
ditch or-
Gabe's yard.
Yeah. Are they interested in having us do that again this year?
I haven't contacted any of the people.
Okay.
I just know Christine said, I don't know, Gallatin and what?
I think 6th, the giant yard with the,
Gloria, we haven't done Gloria's. We haven't done Gloria's for years. She didn't want us. Her husband was really sick, and even though he was in the house, she didn't want us there. And then last year she had a lot of trees removed, and she basically took care of it herself between her and her daughter and son-in-law.
okay.
So the ones that would be on the list for this year are the repeaters would be Cohen and Sebring Davis. The Pickle Basket family, 2 houses, Christine Whiteside. Last year, Heather needed our help on 9th Street Island. She gets a break in the lease or gets to use that space and trade for maintaining the business next door, and it needed a lot of. We spent one day, all day at Gabe Williams and Amber Bauer Williams' yard, which they'd been on our list for years, but either they were out of the country or not available. That's the old dairy at the corner of M and Lewis.
Right.
Roxanne Heidel and Steve Simpson, they're up on Falls Creek Road.
Yep.
They need us to do yard cleaning, but they needed us to play pickup sticks between the fence and the ditch, the creek. We did them and Sandra Bork and the Vermillions all on the same day. So those, I mean, I would not call anybody new. I wouldn't call anybody that we'd done before and didn't do last year. Those are the only names that I would even consider this year. And I may just email all of them, like emailing the families and saying, I mean, we've started yards by this time. We've had yards finished by this date, but the weather has not cooperated. It was either snowing or muddy this year. So I would email the families and say, we have very limited availability and very limited crew due to people leaving us, unless we have people that show up for community service hours. And just let them know that those are the only dates we can play, and we're prioritizing with our seniors before we take care of the next age group. The ones that, like Tom said, I can do it. I just don't want to. Tom Baskin. So that's the scoop with the yard cleaning. I will email the families and email our clients, and we'll go from there. The garage sale. Bev said that we just need to figure out how to do this. We need to get our storage unit empty of donations. Tons of boxes from Albertsons. I hesitate. I know that families that don't know where to, like Dan Vermillion said, yeah, we're willing to help, but there's a limit to how much work we want to put into it if we're not getting a trip out of it, but we're willing to help. Tina Haynes said the same thing. She said, we can help with part of the garage sale, but we won't be there during the garage sale itself because their older daughter is having some kind of graduation type ceremony in Billings. So they're going to be there.
I say if we're not taking, as long as it's just that storage unit, I'm like, that's what my garage looks like on any given day. So I'm like, bang that out. I don't think we even need the fairgrounds. It's not gonna be that size.
We've rented, we paid
logistics.
rent for the fairgrounds
All
3
right.
years ago. And I reserved it for this year, assuming that after Naganahara said we have an exchange.
We're having like the grandbaby of all garage.
This would be
stuff.
the
It's like
mini garage sale, the mini mother of all garage sales.
banging out in somebody's driveway. Hard.
One way or, well, there's still enough stuff. You cannot set it up in the morning and have a garage sale. You need a covered set. I suppose I could cancel at the fairgrounds, but the fairgrounds cost the same as the Civic Center. You need a space to do it.
Don't need that much space though, do we?
It costs the same as the Civic
I
Center.
mean, no, I
What
mean,
difference?
either way, do we need that much space?
Well,
That much
where else
stuff?
are you gonna have a cover set to set up? It would take at least 2 days to get set up. And there, no.
I was
No,
like, who
No,
has a
we
big
don't
covered
wanna
area?
have, sorry, Christy, we don't wanna have a garage sale out. We want it in town where people are gonna come down and buy all the shit
Yeah.
yeah.
And take it with them.
and take it away.
So my proposal
Gotta hump it to it.
to Bev, instead of advertising to get donations, because we're not gonna bust our butt to find a storage unit, there is no storage. As people get ousted from their homes, they put their stuff in storage. So Bev and I talked about during setup, accepting donations during setup.
I know my mom has things.
Yeah,
I think my aunt has things.
I wouldn't commit to picking
Yeah.
stuff up, but if we accept donations, somebody needs to be there to accept or deny the donations. There was times when we didn't have people there and Kim was running the fairgrounds and people would show up and Kim would let them in to leave their donation. And it was stuff we didn't want. It's like, where'd this TV come from that we now have to throw away? So,
Then there were the water heaters from the hotel.
yeah, and the hotel dropped off water heaters. Who wants to buy a used water heater? So,
I can be there, you know, if we made this, if we were setting up for a couple days, I could take us, we could take a point in time and say, drop offs 10 to 2 and 4 to 6, or, you know,
yeah,
and then make sure that there's somebody there.
I would say if we set up Tuesday evening, we have a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for setup. If we set up Tuesday evening and accept drop off donations on Wednesday and Thursday, if they did donations on Friday, that would be too hard because we open from what, like 6 to 8? Is that what we usually do?
Yeah.
Do
So,
we need to do that though, since we're gonna be a quarter of what don't we normally have though.
well, still, if people are gonna
Really?
pay $2 to come in to get the pick of the litter,
But we're meeting.
I know.
I'll do it.
We can charge them $1 a head instead of $2 a head, just to have first pick on Friday night.
She's 50.
What?
A lady from Big Timber, she's 50, just to walk through. Stole all the stuff last time. When I was like 5 boxes of stuff for like $75.
That gal can be.
She owes,
Yeah.
she's $100 to walk through that door.
You're not walking through the door.
So Faith and Nora, I don't know if you're hearing, Bev said that she could be there certain hours to accept donations. I could take time off and be there to help accept donations. We would set up Tuesday after school, accept donations Wednesday and Thursday over set times, finish setting up Wednesday and Thursday evening, do our Friday night 6 to 8 sell. Opinion for Nora and Faith. Normally we charge people $2 a head, but we have no idea if we're gonna have, what we'll have in the way of furniture. We have no idea how much stuff. Do we still want to charge $2 a head, or do we want to charge $1 a head for people to come in Friday and take a pick of what's in there?
Can we determine that after like
You see what we
maybe
got?
Friday when we see what we have? Because
Yeah, but
we
I
don't
mean,
know.
I
how
wrote it
much-
Well, we usually put it in the advertisement.
Oh,
though.
True.
But
Yeah, Christy was saying, should we wait and see what we've got? But we advertise.
Ask for a donation, monetary donation to people. And they can set their own up.
we could do that, or else we could say that it's $2 to get in, and then we could waive it if we don't have anything that's worth anything. I don't know. A donation, no. I think we just stick with the $2.
Stick with the $2.
Yeah. It's $2.
Yeah, stick with it.
Okay.
Okay, I agree.
Pardon? What, Nora?
I agree. It would be, it's like an event to go somewhere and you pay $2. Fine. Not
It's
that much.
inflation. We should be charging, if we had a mother of all garage sale, we'd charge $5 a person. No. Okay. I say, don't do Roundup Road apples. There's no way to feasibly do it. We don't need, seriously, we don't need the fundraisers if we don't have expenses. The ones we're talking about is community service, because we have people that need us and we need to empty our storage. Is there anybody that really thinks we should do the Roundup Road apples?
No. My only fear is will somebody else start doing it if Sister City goes too long without doing it?
Nah, I think people already forgot. They're too upset about losing the block.
I don't think anybody else would
No, I don't think so.
would do it. It takes just like when people, there was a time when people said, you made that much money with a garage sale? And they'd try and mimic our garage sale and they'd go,
Whoa.
damn, that's a lot of work. And they never did it again.
Still say the garage sale was a lot.
Garage sale is a lot of work. Maybe we'll never have to do it again.
We're not gonna say that.
We're not gonna say that. So nobody is saying, no, let's do Roundup Road apples. Give a hoot. To me, there is no reason not to go ahead with doing Give a Hoot. Everybody's in consensus here. We will do Give a Hoot. And if anything, hit up alumni and say that eventually we will have an exchange and help us keep this nonprofit going. The only other one is I was contacted by the Park County Pioneers requesting our help again. I may be out of town. A friend's daughter is getting married in Michigan, May 7th. So I'm planning on going to the wedding. At least I have RSVP'd, though that could change. Should we attempt to do dinner by ourselves. In the yard cleaning, should we see if there is some other nonprofit with willing youth that needs money that wants to do it?
I say we put it out there. If we can get enough kids. If we can get enough kids to sign up to do it.
It doesn't
I
take that
can
many.
wrangle it.
Yeah.
I don't know how bad I want to wrangle kids I don't know. You know, like
Yeah.
another team, you know, like the
Yeah.
football team or whatever. But
That
if
just
we-
gives me the
if we can
chills
get enough-
wrangling the
if we
football
can
team.
Get enough kids to do it. You know, I can tell them how to do it. 'Cause we've done it for years.
Okay,
But if we don't, then we pass it on.
pass it on.
Maybe the rodeo.
The fireworks.
Fireworks, I think we need to stick with.
I think we need to stick with the fireworks, even if there's only a handful of us that do it. I don't know how willing the kids would be to get up early in the morning just for community service hours, but
Well, and if we need to get, I mean, in that case, if we need to get more people involved.
we can
but
split the
because of
difference.
Fact that we know how to do it,
Mhm.
and we've done it for so long.
Yeah.
I think it would be really hard for, never done it before to go in and do it.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, and the Roundup
Plus the-
Association so appreciates us.
mhm.
No. So. Which I didn't have that on there, fireworks cleanup, that's a gimme.
Mhm.
So for those of you in Zoom land, do you have any discussion on any of those fundraisers that we talked about?
No, I agree with you, Donna. There's no sense in doing road apples. We should still do the give a who, and like Bev said, if it's a bunch of students, she doesn't know what the Park County Pioneers, might just pass it on to somebody else. I'm not sure if I'm around that weekend, but I can let you guys know next month at our next meeting.
Yeah. Well, like, and even
they're gathering
when we
supplies.
did the Boots and Buckles Ball, it was gonna be Darren and Ripley. Ripley couldn't come, but Molly came.
Mhm.
You know, there might be alumni kids that are willing to help out.
Yeah. It's fun.
Rose
Those events
Nafia
are fun.
said
Yeah,
they'll help. Girls.
Yeah.
They'll help. Whatever you need, Rose Nafia will be there.
what, Nora? I couldn't hear you.
The girls will be there too. My girls are saying in the background here that they would love more service hours.
Yay. So we're down to open comments.
I don't have any.
You got nothing? Okay, so one thing that isn't on the agenda, but where is it? Someplace I have it here. Tina and Kevin, I think it came from Tina. Sent a long email reporting that Erica decided to withdraw. And I'll share it with board people. It was sent to Bev and I. And it was, I mean, they're just grateful for the program, even though there isn't going to be an exchange. And she suggested that we have a gathering or reception with the original class to celebrate what we did accomplish. And I thought, that's a good idea. We need to have an appreciation luncheon or dinner with the group, because we've kind of lost touch with everybody, including those that worked and dropped out, you know?
Mhm.
I also think that by exchange group, we need to put those that would have gone in 2020 or this year, somewhere or another, we need to get their names on the back of the Friendship Garden.
That's a great idea. And get them a certificate or something too. That's a great idea.
For participating, yeah. I don't know if it would, you know, when we would do that, if we see how many are gonna hang in there or not, but I would be tempted to put the names of those that were selected to be. Selected to be in the program and dropped out of the program as, I don't know how we would word it, like we got Tony's name is on the back of the
Yeah, but he went,
form. Tony did go,
yeah.
yeah.
So we have to think of something.
One way or another to acknowledge the ones that were selected and put the work in, but didn't get the benefit of the exchange. To be continued. But I do think that an appreciation dinner, and I know how busy these kids are.
I think
The only
it's
time we'd be able to do it,
pretty hard to do.
well, what if we did even an appreciation luncheon or late afternoon, something on a Sunday or something? You don't think we'd be able to pull it off?
Everybody's going so many different directions. It's hard enough to get everybody together for.
Oh,
an
yeah,
hour
you
meeting.
cannot get them together during the
For
week
anything.
because they're all working. You can't get them together on Saturday because they're in sports. I'm thinking the only time that the majority of kids might be available is sometime on Sunday, but I don't know what that best time would be.
So we're getting more daylight, so I would say, yeah, moving more toward May. It gets crazy at the end of the school year too. It stresses me out every year and yeah, so I'm like early May or something like that.
That's not that far away.
We'll have, we'll have a little bit longer days, so an evening thing would be, I mean, you're only gonna get their attention for a couple hours anyways, but you bore them to death and they move on. And so.
Well, and it's
Would
just
have to
kind
be
of an,
any major extravagant thing. In casual throwdown potluck it. I don't see why.
Just a pizza party.
what?
Yeah.
Throw them a
Potluck
pizza
or
party?
party.
Just an excuse to have
Yes.
everybody, because I
Yeah.
mean, they haven't,
Yep.
aside from the few fundraisers.
The goal is that to get people together and, have some eats. We can't,
Camaraderie.
guarantee- Yeah, the camaraderie is the goal and the food is a nice little perk, so. And that's
Yeah, I think if we do it, it should